This video is not sponsored. I bought this set off Amazon, where its suggested retail price already blows Lego out of the water in terms of value. Part quality and consistency is on par with Lego, if not beyond it. The overall design of this is, I would say, on par with Lego. And the lighting system that it comes with is so good, so well implemented, that I am obsessed with getting more of these parts so that I can implement them all throughout my own custom creations. The price I paid was $67.49 US, but that's because this company has discounts and coupons and things like all the time. The suggested retail price is $90 US. We're going to go with that as the base for it. It comes with 1,595 pieces, including a battery box here. Everything is included that you need except for the 3 AA or LR6 sized batteries that you need in here. And this has a USB output to it. So if you just have a USB rail and you're running a bunch of USB devices for a display, you can just run your USB-A connector into that. And then there's a spreader bar on the back to distribute electricity through all the different floors and all the different systems. We'll get into how that all goes together. Part quality here was excellent to me. Again, it felt on par with Lego, if not a little bit beyond, with nice consistency of color. The parts are moderately shiny, but consistently so. They have a very small amount of post-molding shrinkage where you can see a little bit of the shape, a little bit of the interior shape from some parts that are some sections that shrink due to uneven cooling from popping the parts out too quickly. Lego these days is popping their parts out more and more, so you're seeing those more and more. This has very little of that effect, but just a tiny bit of it that you can't see in some places, and you'll see it hopefully as we go around. I want you to see exactly how this really is. I don't want to give you any skewed impression of it. The only place where I saw anything inconsistent in terms of part quality was just literally right around here. These two 1x1 by 5 pieces are just slightly darker and a slightly different hue than the other pieces around it. I'm not sure if you can see that there. It's subtle, but I did want to call it out. This is a color you're probably not familiar with. It's a cream color, and it's intended to be that way. Nothing here is an incorrect color. It is built and delivered in the way that it's designed to be. Some parts have a different material than I'm used to, such as these leaf pieces right here. The 3-lobed leaf pieces are made of ABS. So they're actually hard plastic. And these larger leaf pieces are slightly harder than I'm used to. They're still flexible, but slightly harder. But the fact that these are harder made them much easier to insert compared to what I'm used to of these pieces being soft, and then really soft going into soft means the ends kind of mushroom and they buckle up, and it's just a little bit more difficult to put a lot of them in together. One last thing about part quality. I feel like the clutch power is very, very close to what I'm used to, with the exception of the undersides. I didn't test this objectively, but I feel like the undersides, the anti-stud side, has the tiniest fraction less clutch power, which really helped with the build of the floor down here. So there's very, very little warpage in that, because the more clutch power you have, the more tightness you have on the underside, the more parts tend to warp as you build, especially larger plates on top of each other, which is why companies typically have to go into special considerations when doing lots of plates to make sure that they don't have plates that are too large overlapping one another. But yeah, just that tiniest little difference from what I'm used to. Anything that's a decoration that you see here is a print. There are no stickers whatsoever. The lights are all wired directly in. I think they use like 30 or 32 gauge wire with a lot of metal in it and a relatively thin insulation. So it bends and holds its shape pretty well, but it's easy to work with. All pre-wired into regular elements. So they've got 1x1s used down here. There's another 1x1 on top with a little slot in it. It's one of the specialized pieces that they include, and you'll see another specialized piece right up in there with a channel. I'll show you what that looks like separately, which made it just a joy to put this thing together. So simple, so easy to deal with all the wire management. Wires are also the correct length, with just a little bit of extra, not a lot that you have to worry about, with the exception of just out here where all this stuff comes together on the outside. You get that bundle of wires there. Would have been nice to have something to cover this up, just to hide it. You know, some of their sets do, this one did not, and so that's something that can be considered a negative. Just one piece covering that, or just a small subassembly, would have been better than this this ladder piece right here. And obviously, you know, you can see this, but I mean, it's better to have it on the outside and around the back than to have it on the inside, where it'll take up space, because this does have a lot of details on the inside that you want to be able to see. Speaking of which, I will get you to that one last thing over here regarding the lights from the outside. You can see that these are changing. So they go through a fade cycle. They're not synchronized. So there's a slightly different speed for the three. So sometimes you'll see them kind of go in a nice sequential pattern. Sometimes it seems a little bit more random than that. And all the rest of them are just consistent, so there's no flicker involved. To show you the interior, I'm just going to pull off floors. So I'll take off the top two floors together. They just have, you know, like regular jumpers and tiles to allow you to do that. And you notice there's no wires going between the different floors to transmit power, and that's because they've got this touch-based system, contact-based, with no wires needed between the different sections. So above this, you've got a couple of prongs that come down in a specialized piece, and they are spring-loaded. Very similar to what was done by Brick Stuff some years ago, but this is a little bit more portable system because the ABS piece comes by itself, and the wire with the contact patch right there comes with a bit of adhesive on the underside. You pull off a covering tab and then just push it down into place when it's time to assemble it. You can see right here a cable management piece that is nicely integrated into the system, so that gives you plenty of room to run wires through there. And other places, there's cable management via 1x4 channel pieces where wire can go in and then it can go across. And then other places, there are 1x1s that allow wires to come straight through. So looking on the inside, you can see how compact and how lacking in wire clutter the interior wiring solutions can appear. So this one gets its power from up here. There's a channel behind here that's transmitting power across, so the wire goes straight through there, and you end up not having to pinch wires anywhere, which I hate pinching wires. You see this one then goes across, and then it goes down, and then it goes out to power the other side. All those are pre-wired together, so you get one single harness essentially that has the lights built in, and you just put it together. It's really easy to use. As a matter of fact, they even help you out by including a set of tweezers. They include these. They're cheap, but they're perfect because they've got no pointy ends. So they're not going to cut through insulation easily. They've got rounded ends, and it just helps you to route it if you're having a little bit of difficulty with that. You can see some weapons down in there with some familiar designs. You might see some parts in colors that you've never seen before. It's because, you know, this company can do whatever the heck they want. That's a print for the shield right there. That's a print for the blueprints up there as well. And that's a print down there for the plans for that helmet. I've got suggestions of scrolls off to the side. Another print up here. And a little grind, sharpening wheel there. Pretty nice. Definitely lacking in studs to hold minifigure feet. You know, not a lot of places where you can make a figure stand where they're not going to fall over. So that's definitely something that could have been done better down here, just for the sake of posing inside, especially since, this has the light on the inside. It's got the door here. It's nice, especially in a dark area, to have the door open, put a minifigure in there, and then just be able to see them working through the light. But that's a little bit of a miss. I would swap out some of those dark tan for some studded pieces. Speaking of figures, this company does use figures, but I'm not putting any kind of emphasis on them because I know that almost everybody watching this channel is going to say, those aren't Lego minifigures, therefore they suck, throw them in the trash immediately. And that's fine. We're used to things that look like this. And when we don't get things that look like this, then we panic and it just looks wrong to us. Honestly, if Lego had made their figures look like this, then today, if we saw this, we would laugh and say, throw it in the trash immediately. It's just, it's just the state of things. But Lego legally has protection over the design of their minifigures. So any other company, in order to legally make figures has to do something different. So this is what this company has done. At least the accessories are compatible with all regular figures. The hood for this one was a little bit difficult to put together, I will say. It's a nice cloth that they use. It's thin and yet very flexible, so it doesn't crinkle up. It's not that papery type of stuff. You can do stuff like this and it's not doing damage to it. So you can look at the print on the back there, which is nothing to particularly write home about. But I like the material, but over here with the hood, it took a few tries to get this one to work out. But you can just leave that off as a separate piece from the cape. But again, who cares about these? Not that many people, just to be honest. Now let's look at the second level, and you can see the magic of the wireless contact-based connection and power distribution system. So again, it's this over here is going to be hit by these two prongs, which are spring-loaded, and this is pre-built here. I've got the one of the chairs starting to move around, but I'll just line this up. Just line it up by the chimney is the easiest thing to do, and then you've got lights inside of there. So once I get this set up, there we go. Get it all right. Yep. And now those lights are on. And these are the 1x1s, 1x1 clear cylinders, which give a nice amount of light and a different style, a different quality of light compared to the ones that represent candles. You know, it's a cooler light, but still not like a daylight. You've got, again, prints used inside of there. A nice level of detail, right? I thought so, or I think so. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. Just in general, just not really any complaints. Now this has all studded space, so you can put minifigures or you can put figures anywhere on it. And yeah, I like some of the recolors that were involved in putting this together. And I want to see more and more and more recolors from all kinds of companies of useful pieces that are used in just all sorts of especially smaller scale builds. And here's another chair that's just kind of press fit. Sorry about that, the angles, but kind of press fit underneath so you can pull that out. Does not have any studs on it, so it's not easy to connect a figure to that. But just generally, I mean, this interior space just makes sense to me and it looks good. Plus you have full suggestion of figure accessible access from down here. You use the stairs, right? You get up to this. You've got a door over here as well, which has a small balcony that will just accommodate one figure standing outside, or you can have them just inside. And then there's a ladder that will take you up to the next level. So here, once again, we'll be able to see the magic of the contact-based power distribution system and line this up properly. Make sure everything goes in nice and flat. There you can see a light just came on there. Light just came on over here as well, the two different colors. And this is unfortunate. The print there, I mean, the typefaces that they use in this set are not great. Definitely not period appropriate there. The same thing goes for the sign above the main door down below. But you can turn that around. Although if you turn around, then you're going to see it from the other side. It's not the best. This bedroom is small and the bed itself is very small. It doesn't really accommodate a figure that well. You know, it looks nice. It's very charming to look at, but not the most practical for figures. Once again, on the other side, you got a couple of little cases in olive green, and the colors do pretty well match the leading brand here, with the exception of this color that the leading brand Lego does not have whatsoever. And that's a print right there. The other bed is a little bit more accommodating, a little bit larger, but still not specifically designed to hold the feet or anything, you know, to keep one in place. Got a little scroll back there in the back, and you've got the hole through the floor. Oops, I accidentally knocked this off when I was prepping it. That's going to hold the sides in. You'll see in just a second. But there's a hole in the floor which lines up with the ladder down below. You see just a tiny bit, one of the rungs of it. So access for figures is suggested and actually explicitly built. So the panels of the roof just sit. They just sit in place like so. The other side over here, once again, they just kind of give you a little trough for it. And that just goes like that. Pretty satisfying. A look at the extra leftover stuff is weird. So this is their version of a brick separator, which has the axle part out to the side, which I think is actually pretty convenient. They include this small Phillips head screwdriver in order to take the tiny screw out of the battery box. I showed you the tweezers already. These are extra pieces for the figures, and just in different colors. These are normal leftover pieces like I'm used to seeing. There are actually less of them than I expected. Most of the bags in this had very few leftover pieces where I had expected to get them. And then right at the end, the last bag or last set of bags had all of these left over, which left me feeling like I really, really messed up the build and missed something huge. But as far as I can tell, I didn't. As far as I can tell, this one was a temporary piece that they have you use. I know that one's not supposed to be used or was supposed to be removed, but the rest left me questioning it. But it gives me an opportunity to show you this interesting piece that they have here. There we go. It's different. So, not everything that they do is something that you may have seen before, unless you've seen this from some other different company. But this by far is the most important thing. This is an absolute game changer for me. This is the prototype channel piece for lighting, for cable management. And, as you can see, that is a 1x1 by 2/3 with a stud on the top. Essentially, it's a squared off stud. It'll fit under a 1x1 or any size of regular brick or plate or tile or anything. And it allows you to hang a right or a left or go straight through with any of the wires. And you can stack multiple wires going through there. It also has channels as viewed from the top, so you can hide wires between different layers. Like that. That's enough space for those. It's got rounded inner corners rather than hard corners. So they didn't just route straight across and then straight in. They're rounded corners, so you can pull the wires through a little bit forward and backward to get them adjusted without doing damage to the insulation. And they include these in a few different colors in the set, as well as another one that I would have to really disassemble the set to show you. Again, it's a 1x4. I showed you in place, but you're not going to see it here. It's a 1x4 with just the openings at the ends for channeling wire essentially through a wall where you need to move, such as across a window, the top of a window, or a door or something, as we saw briefly there. But I want hundreds, if not thousands of these to do all of my wiring in my Lego City in the future, because it was just so easy to use. Absolutely carefree. This is kind of perfect. And lastly, this company has digital instructions available on their website, which is what I use for live building on Twitch. It's just much more convenient to keep my workspace clean and everything, but they also have a very thick and comprehensive instruction manual with good printing, good quality paper. They show you a lot of, exactly how to deal with the wiring system. The builds are well described, but it's not like one piece per step. They do multiple. It just feels like not an advanced build, but also not a build for the 4+ age range. But they're really careful when it comes to the wires, because they know that is a major source of pain. If you've ever gotten an aftermarket lighting kit, or if you try to do your own, that just routing the wires is a big deal. So they tend to give you multiple angles and multiple confirmations of how to do each wiring step. And the rest of it is pretty much straightforward, all full color. The pages feel good. It's my first time ever getting something from this brand, so I wanted to cover this just so that people will have a little bit better understanding of what we're dealing with here in terms of how much the company at least appears to care about the products and also the end user experience. So again, the suggested retail price of this set is $90 US. It's on discount very, very frequently, so I got mine for $67.50, but we've got to go with the suggested retail price for the sake of fairness and considering value. This has almost 1,600 pieces, which makes the price to part ratio ridiculously good for folks who follow that. And that's not even considering the fact that this comes with an entire electronics system that is bespoke and specifically made for it. It's also not considering the fact that it doesn't have any stickers whatsoever. It has a whole bunch of prints, including ones that are uniquely made, at least for this theme, if not for this specific set. And the figures, again, the figures are what they are. Most people watching this channel want to see Lego minifigures, and these aren't Lego minifigures, and that's fine. So as far as value is concerned, I'm just looking at the build, because after all, this is a building system. This whole channel is about building system. The whole hobby is about building This is the value to me. I went into this having received unsponsored, unbiased viewer feedback about this brand. Too bad about its name, but about this brand being really, really good. From not just folks who are Lego haters, but just average, regular folks who just like this kind of stuff. So I thought that it was going to be at least okay, but I was open to it disappointing me a little bit. It did the exact opposite. This blew me away in many ways. And the way that the lighting system is done with those channel pieces, I seriously, I just want to buy those parts in bulk. And I really wish the best for this company and this brand, because this sort of competition is exactly what this industry needs, exactly what this hobby needs. This is fantastic. This is top quality stuff at a very, very low cost. It shows what is possible, what can be done. And I mean, my negative points about it are nitpicks at best. You know, the minifigs and tiny little bits of design things. I'm so happy to have gotten this. So happy to have gotten this. And you know, it's not just me. I know it's not just me, because I had a lot of people watching me through the 2 sessions of building it live over on Twitch, and so many folks were just seeing it live and as impressed as I was, if not more. So I'm not looking at this purely through biased eyes for some strange reason. Not that I have any reason to. I like brick-based stuff. I like quality. This gives both, and incredible value and some nice innovation too, which I'm just so happy about. Different colors and different part designs. It's just more of this, please. Inject this into my veins. Inject this into the veins of the entire industry, please. I want to see more companies come up doing stuff at this level, or at least close to it, because gosh, that's exactly what we need. And I love it. Sorry, I will stop. I'm not supposed to gush, right? Well, I'm just sharing my honest feelings about it, as I always do. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was of some value to you, and I'll talk to you again soon.